Hey guys, this is Aaron, and today I want to show you how to get that HM-2 buzzsaw sound that was made famous by bands like Entombed, Carnage, and At the Gates, and more recent bands like Nails, Black Breath, any band that's kind of worked with Kurt Blue. He's been using it on a lot of records, and other different pedals too that kind of sound similar, but you can actually do that using Amplitude 4. And I'm going to show you this track real quick. It's very At the Gates influence, so I'm going to play it right now, and you can only hear the direct guitar, so it's going to sound really bad, but you're going to get an idea of where you can start from and where to take it. So right now we have drums, and I'm using Steven Slate drums, and I have a bass that I've already recorded through a Sans amp direct in, and I've EQ'd it a little bit. And so I'm going to play it back. Okay, cool. So you can hear that's very At the Gates influenced. And what we're going to do first is we're going to go to one of the rhythm guitars. I'm just going to choose guitar left, and I'm going to pan it into the middle so I can hear it through both speakers. And I'm going to go to the plugins, and I'm going to go to Amplitude 4 and select mono. And there we go. And the first thing that we want to do is choose our amp. Now, I've been messing around with some settings, and my favorite one is the 5150 emulation. And we're going to go to Amplitube, lead, and then we're going to go to lead V. And this seems like the best amp so far. And what we're going to do is I'm just going to play just a little bit of the original guitar just to hear what it sounds like with just the 5150. So I'm going to solo this guitar. Okay, that doesn't sound very good. So what we want to do is get that signature HM2 sound. And the way we can do that is by going to this Stomp A right here and going directly to Amplitude, Distortion, and Metal Distortion 2. And I don't know if you guys have ever used a real HM2, but to get that signature sound, what you basically have to do is turn the high and the low all the way up. And that's how this high is really where you get the buzzsaw sound. But the low, if you turn it down anywhere around here, it starts getting a weird sound, and so you just have to max it out. Now the distortion's a little bit different. You can max it all the way out. I like to use less distortion. You can't really tell the difference when you're around this area. Anywhere between here and here, it sounds basically the same. There's a little bit less distortion, so you can hear the articulation of the notes just a little bit better, but not losing that signature sound. So let's go ahead and hear what that sounds like now with the HM2 enabled. Okay, I mean, right off the bat, you can already hear that it's that signature HM2 sound, and I almost guarantee if we were to just add this plugin to every other channel. So let's go ahead and close this out, and I am going to Option, click and drag onto guitar right, and then I'm also going to do that to the lead channel. And let's just play it back, and I'm going to unsolo this as well, and let's just play it back and see what that sounds like with drums and bass. All right, so you get the gist of it. I mean, it right off the bat, it already sounds really, really good. So you don't really have to mess with the settings. However, I'm sure everybody's taste is going to be a little bit different, so you can tweak it however you want. I'm going to show you guys some of the things that I tweak a little bit just to make it sound a little bit better. You could probably hear with the palm muting that it's a little bit too thumpy, so I'm going to go ahead and solo this again, and I'm going to bring it up into the middle for the panning. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the amp again. And that low end is just so thumpy. It's way too much low end because we turned that low end on the pedal really, really high to get that signature sound. What we're going to do is I'm going to turn this bottom all the way off. And I'm going to turn the bass just a little bit down. Middle is probably good, and maybe just a little bit of the treble off. It starts getting a little bit piercing, and what I want to do is just attenuate that piercing sound just a little bit. Another thing I like to do is I like to go to the cab area. Now in the cab area, what you can see is we have a 57 and a U87 emulation, and you can actually change the positions of the mic, and you can actually change the mics as well. So right now they have a 57 that's directly in the center. No one ever puts a 57 directly in the middle. I mean, very few people might, but definitely not for metal. So one of the things that I like to do is in real world situations, if I was actually miking a cab with a 57, is to move it over so that it's kind of halfway between the cap and the cone, and that kind of attenuates a lot of that high end sound. But I noticed with this amp, it doesn't really do it well. So let's go ahead and listen to that. And I'm going to put it right back in the middle, and we're going to listen to it and I'm going to move it to the left, and you can hear the high end kind of get lessened. So let's play it back. Okay, I mean, that already kind of made it a lot less trebly and piercing, so you could be happy with that and be done with it. However, what I noticed, and after my playing around with it, I like to use this mic, and I believe that's the RE20. And I'm gonna play this back and show you guys the difference between it. I'm gonna switch between these two while it's playing back so you can hear the difference. So with the RE20, I mean, it already does a really good job at attenuating that, even more so than just moving it over with the 57. So I like that. And another thing we can do is we can select the U87. I'm not the biggest fan of the U87 on this cab. I'm going to go to the mixer real quick because you can actually blend two mics together. And what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to turn the room mic. We don't need a room mic for this, and I'm just gonna solo the U87 and see what that sounds like. And it's not terrible, but in real world situations, one of the most popular setups that you can do is actually the R121 by Royer. It's becoming very popular to use this mic in metal. Andy Sneap is actually a big advocate of it now, using a 57 and a Royer 121. Now, in real-world applications, a 57 and a 121 actually sounds great. In this, because it's a plug-in and we're messing with virtual stuff, the 57 is just too much in the mix. So in real-world situations, with the R121, you typically actually do put it in the middle. And we're going to listen to that in soloed. So that's already soloed right now. And we're going to listen to that back and see what that sounds like. Okay, I mean, that sounds cool too. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to unsolo this so we can hear both mics together. Okay, I mean that blend, I don't know if you guys saw that I was moving this fader up and down to kind of blend the R121 with the RE20, but that you don't want to make them equal power. It just sounds weird. So it's always good to actually use your main sound as the dynamic mic and kind of blend that R121 in, and see the results. I mean, like I said, you guys can go through all the different mics. I mean, they have a ton of mics. You know, we got a 414 emulation and a few other things. We got, you know, other ribbon mics, 160 and stuff like that. So I'm just gonna go back to the 121. That's what I like in this emulation. So let's go ahead, and what I'm gonna do is I am going to take off these Amplitubes because they have the old settings, and I'm gonna paste these ones over again. And let's listen to that all together. Cool. I mean, to me, that sounds great. However, there's still kind of that low end when you're palm muting, and it can kind of get muddy if you don't control that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and solo one of these again, and I am going to put it back in the middle. And what I want to add is a compressor. Now, we could use something like the Waves C4. I know Andy Sneap has a setting for that, but most people don't have the Waves stuff. So what I'm going to do is I am going to go to Dynamics. This is just a basic compressor that you can use that comes with Logic. And I'm going to go to Mono. And what I found best, I believe, yep, it's the Vintage VCA. Now, there's the Vintage FET. That is an emulation of 1176, and it, for some reason, the plugin inside of Logic makes it distort really bad no matter what setting you have it at, or any usable setting to attenuate the signal. First thing I'm going to do is I am going to go ahead and put it around 4:1. That's kind of the basic setting that you would put it for a guitar signal. And I'm going to go ahead and turn down the release. Auto's already on, but I just to make sure. And then I'm going to turn down the attack just a little bit, not to where it's totally squished, because then you get this weird pumping sound. I'm going to little bit of that dynamic come in, a little bit of that transient. So let's go ahead and see what that did. Awesome. So as you guys can see on those palm muting parts, it's attenuating the signal about 5 dB and not really affecting the other notes. So that's leveling the sound really well. And it will actually create more space in your mix, and it won't muddy up all the low end, because a lot of the low end is going to be from the bass and the kick drum. And sometimes you don't have a lot of low end in the kick drum. So that might not matter as much, but you don't want your guitars to be wildly, kind of transient and stuff like that. You kind of want to attenuate a little bit just to get a little bit to tame it a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add that to the other rhythm track. I don't really need it on the lead channel because, as you can see, the lead channel is not very dynamic. It's really the rhythm guitars that are super dynamic. So let's go ahead and I'm going to unsolo this and pan it back to the left, and let's hear the whole thing now. Awesome. So I love that sound. I mean, we could even attenuate the highs a little bit more by using an EQ. You guys can do whatever you want to taste. I like that setting. If I had a whole mix, I might have to turn down those highs a little bit, but just using guitars and drums right now, I like it. So I hope you guys found this helpful, and good luck to you.